Hi, I'm Margaret Read MacDonald, and I'm glad you came today to hear stories about taking care of this earth. I hope you'll like some of these stories and take them and share them with others too. The stories all come from a book called Earth Care, World Folk Tales to Talk About. I put this story collection together some years ago. I was flying over the island of Borneo, and I looked down and saw the whole island was burning. The rainforest was on fire. As far as I looked in every direction, there was burning forest. I knew this happened every year because the landowners were trying to clear off the rainforests to make room to plant palm oil plantations. When I saw that, I thought, I need to do a collection of folktales about taking care of the earth. There's not much I can do to help, but that's one thing I can do. I can tell stories. That's what I do. And so I put together this collection of folk tales. It wasn't hard to find them. I'd written a book earlier called Peace Tales, World Folk Tales to Talk About. And those are hard to find because people don't tell a lot of stories about how to get along with their neighbor. But every people who live near the land tell stories about how to take care of the land they live in. They teach their children, don't take too many fish. Don't take too many animals. Don't cut down too many trees. Take care of the waterways. So I hope you'll find these stories useful too. If you happen to be a teacher, you can go to my website and find activities to accompany several of these stories. The book has 41 stories, but we have only 14 that we're sharing with you today. I asked a number of my storytelling friends who all were telling these stories if they would share a story each for this program, and they've done so. The program was Jeff Gear's idea. He asked me to put it together, and I asked my friends, and here are the stories. I hope you'll enjoy them.
Hi everyone, I'm Nat.
And I'm Jen, and together we are the
Whitman Tellers.
And today we're going to share with you an Estonian folk tale. It's called
Miku
and the Trees. Young Miku was walking to the forest. He wanted wood for his fire. Now he was a little bit lazy and did not want to spend time collecting branches off of the forest floor, so he brought his axe. And the first tree he saw was an enormous birch tree. Oh, it was a beautiful tree, perfect for his fire. He raised his axe and chop!
Miku, you don't want to chop me down.
It was a talking tree.
Miku, I'm a birch tree. You use my twigs to make a broom. You use my bark to make baskets. Don't chop me down, Miku.
This is true. Oh, birch tree, you're right. I love using your bark and your twigs. I'm sorry, I won't chop you down.
Thank you, Miku, and remember, if you care for us, we'll care for you.
So Miku walked off into the forest to find another place for wood. He walked and walked, and soon he came across, a beautiful cherry tree. An enormous cherry tree, just the thing for his fire. He raised his axe and...
Miku! What are you doing?
Another talking tree.
You can't chop me down, Miku. I'm a cherry tree. You get beautiful, delicious cherries from me in the fall. Why would you chop me down for some firewood now?
Oh, it's true. I do love a good cherry pie. Oh, I'm sorry, cherry tree. You're right. I shouldn't chop you down. I won't chop you down.
Thank you. Very good, Miku. Remember, if you care for us, we'll care for you.
So Miku kept walking and walking deeper into the forest, and soon he saw an enormous maple tree. Oh, just the thing for the fire. He raised his axe and...
Miku! Don't chop me down.
Another talking tree.
I'm a maple tree. Why, you use my sap to make delicious maple syrup and maple sugar. You wouldn't want to deprive yourself of that.
That's true. I love maple syrup. Oh, and I love maple sugar candy. You're right. I'm sorry, Maple Tree. I won't chop you down.
That's right. Now remember, Miku, if you care for us, we'll care for you.
And so Miku kept walking through the forest, but every tree he came across was very useful. The pine tree,
Oh, my pine cones are good for making fires.
the walnut tree.
I have delicious and tasty walnuts.
Oh, every tree was useful. Finally, Miku sat down and thought, well, perhaps I should really be caring for all of these trees. I won't cut any of them down. Instead, I will gather branches from the forest floor.
Just as Miku was bending over, a little man came out of the woods. Oh, Miku! He was dressed with an acorn cap, and he had a suit made out of bark. Oh, Miku, Miku, very good today. You are caring for the forest, and we want to give you a gift that will care for you.
Oh.
The man pulled out a wooden wand and gave it to Miku. Now, Miku, with this wand, you can get gifts from nature. If you wave it, bees will give you delicious honey. If you wave it, birds will bring you delicious fruits from the forest. But, Miku, this very powerful gift has one rule. You must never use it for anything that is not natural.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That's very kind.
Have fun!
And so, Miku raised his wand. I wonder if this works. I do love honey. I wonder if I could have honey. Bees, are you there?
Yes, Miku.
Hi, bees. Would you go get me some honey, please?
Oh, gladly. And the bees went off. And then when they came back, they had delicious honeycomb for Miku.
This is amazing. Thank you, bees. I wonder if it would work with other creatures. Birds. Hi, birds.
Yes.
Could you please go get me some berries?
Oh, certainly, Miku. We'll get you some berries. And the birds flew off and came back with a nice set of berries right in their beak.
Amazing. It was wonderful. Miku now had everything that he could desire. But now everything you can desire is a lot. And Miku at first was very grateful. Thank you. But as the days went by and the weeks and the months, he began to get used to the power of the wand. And he began to become a little bossy. When it was time to plant his field, he called out to the moles, "Hey moles, I want you to plow my field."
Oh, we'll gladly plow your field, Miku. And so they went and they plowed his field.
And he called out to the ants, "Ants, where are you, ants?
Yes.
Ants, I want you to take this seed and I want you to go plant the seed inside my field. Go.
I'm on my way.
Fast.
And those little ants went out and they planted the fields full of seeds.
So amazing. But Miku did not appreciate it. And as spring turned to summer and summer turned to fall, fall turned to winter, and the sky was dark with clouds, and Miku was cold. Miku raised his wand toward the sun. "Sun, I command you to come out and make it hot."
That was not natural. And so the sun zapped out from behind the clouds and they parted. And in an unnatural ray of light, the sun began to heat Miku up so much that he felt as if he were burning. And that wand that Miku was holding began to smoke and smolder and caught right on fire. Until there was nothing left but the ashes from the wood that had made it.
And nature never spoke to Miku again.
It's true, if you go through the forest now, the trees will not talk to you.
They talk to no humans. Although sometimes, if you head out into the middle of the woods when it's very calm, you might be able to hear the leaves rustle and a little voice whisper,
If you care for us, we'll care for you. If you care for us, we'll care for you.
and I actually had to put some repellent on just in case the mosquitoes came. But luckily, while I was telling this story, no mosquitoes did bite me. The Mosquito Extermination Project, a folktale from India. There once was a city where there were so many mosquitoes that the humans who lived there hardly dared to set foot outside their houses. They had to have fly screens all around their houses, or life became very unpleasant. They couldn't step outside their house without feeling like they were going to be carried away by a cloud of mosquitoes. You even felt like you were going to breathe them in. Even if they covered themselves in insect repellent, still they were sort of hovering around them and going up their noses. It was awful. So the people of the city appealed to their mayor to please do something about it. The mayor consulted her advisors, and the advisors sat around concocting a project, a plan to solve this problem, while the mayor went back to her mayoral tasks. Well, the advisors thought, and they thought, and they thought. And then someone thought to themselves, well, what about if we let nature solve this problem? I mean, what in nature would get rid of mosquitoes? Frogs. Frogs would clearly get rid of the mosquitoes. So all we need to do is bring baskets and baskets and baskets of frogs into the city. Problem solved. Hooray. And so that's what they did. They went and got baskets and baskets and baskets of frogs from somewhere else. I can't tell you what it was like for the somewhere else that lost all their frogs. They might have needed their frogs. They might have wanted their frogs. The frogs may not want to leave. But anyway, that's what they did in their story. They took hundreds and thousands of frogs and moved them into the city. And the frogs hopped around doing their frog thing and eating mosquitoes and probably most of the other insects as well. But it did solve the mosquito problem. And this was wonderful. There was jubilation and celebration in the streets. Hooray! No more mosquitoes. But now any species that is well fed will breed a lot because they know that it's safe to have babies. The babies will be well fed. And this is what the frogs did. They laid eggs, which turned into tadpoles, which turned into more frogs. And soon there were so many frogs in the city you could barely set foot outside your house without stepping on a frog. There would be a frog sitting in your shoe greeting you in the morning, which is okay. But it got so bad that even when people were driving along the street, they would have crashes and slither and have accidents because they were squishing frogs, the poor frogs. So it was really bad for the frogs. It was really bad for the humans. So the people went back to the mayor and they said, Mayor, thanks for the mosquito extermination project. That actually went well. Now we don't have the mosquito problem, but now we've got a new problem. We've got this excess of frogs. So the mayor said, fine, yes, we can do something about the frogs. And she asked the same advisors that she asked before, and she went back to her mayoral tasks. Well, the advisors sat around and they thought, well, nature solved the problem last time. Very well. Why not let nature solve it again? What eats frogs? Snakes eat frogs. Let's just get lots and lots of snakes and bring them into the city, and the problem would be solved. What do you reckon? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Anyway, let's see what happens in the story. Well, so apparently they went and got lots of snakes. It doesn't say in the story whether they got the particular snakes that eat frogs or not, but they got lots and lots of snakes. And the snakes went and some portion of them ate frogs until the frog population was drastically reduced and manageable. But as you can imagine, what happened next was the snakes bred and had more and more babies, and there was already hundreds and thousands of snakes in the city. They could have maybe hidden and gone out of the reach of humans because snakes are quite shy by nature, but when you've got too many, of course, they're not shy anymore, and it became very dangerous and very scary and very problematic. Would you like to live in a city filled with slithering snakes? Snakes that might come in the window into your home and have a bath with your baby? Well, people in the country deal with those sorts of things, but it's only one snake here and there, maybe 3 or 4 on their property, not hundreds and thousands of snakes. So, of course, it got mad. got completely mad, and the people said, "Please, Mayor, can you do something about this problem?" And the mayor said, "Certainly, we'll sort this out." Then she went back to the same advisors that had given her the last two solutions. Well, the advisors sat down and they thought, okay, now we've solved the last two problems with nature. Let's see if we can solve this problem again with nature. Now, let's see. What eats snakes? They thought, and they thought, and they scratched their heads, and they paced up and down. No matter how many times they scratched their heads or paced up and down, they couldn't think of anything that ate snakes, because in their country there wasn't anything that could eat snakes, or that did eat snakes. And they never actually came up with a solution. I mean, they talked about getting in snake handlers, human snake handlers, but of course there was only a couple in the country, maybe 100 or 2, not enough to cope with hundreds and thousands of snakes safely. And do you know what happened in the end? Those poor people had to abandon their homes. They had to abandon their city, all because of the so-called Great Mosquito Extermination Project.
Once, a long time ago, it didn't rain for a whole year. If you know anything at all about growing things, you know what happens if it doesn't rain. They die. The grass turned brown and died. The trees and the bushes lost all their leaves. At the bottom of the canyon, where the river would usually run along, there were only a few little puddles of water left. And living in one of those puddles was a frog. And he saw that his puddle kept getting smaller and smaller every day. And he knew something. He knew that if it didn't rain, the puddle would dry up and he would die. But the frog knew how to sing a rain song. He thought he would sing his song and see if he could bring some rain. The frog started to sing, rain, rain, rain. But that song wasn't loud enough to go clear to the top of the mountain. That's where the rain god lived, way up at the mountaintop. So the rain god couldn't hear it. No rain came. And then not far from the puddle, there was a bush. Living in that bush was a locust. And the locust also knew if it didn't rain, she wouldn't live through the summer. So as the locust clung to the branch, she sang her rain song. Rain. It wasn't loud enough to go to the top of the mountain. And when the locust saw that there were no clouds in the sky and it wasn't going to rain, she started to cry. The frog heard someone crying. The frog hopped over there. He looked up and said, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" And the locust told him, "If it doesn't rain, I'm going to die." When the frog heard that, he thought about what would happen to him too if it didn't rain, and he got so sad. He started to cry. But just then, the locust got an idea. The locust thought, when one person works all alone, they don't get much done. But if people work together, they can do a lot of work. The locust said, "Frog, maybe we should sing together." And the frog thought that was a good idea. They added their songs together. It sounded like this. Rain, 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 rain. It still wasn't loud enough to go to the top of the mountain. But it was loud enough to go to the next puddle down the canyon, and living in that puddle, there was another frog. And in other puddles on the other side of the canyon, there were even more frogs. They heard the frog sing, and they thought they would join in and sing along with him. Rain, rain, rain. And also in nearby bushes and in the grass around the edge of the puddles, there were more locusts. They heard the locust, and they thought they would sing along with her. Rain, rain. And when you put all of the frogs and all of the locusts together, it ends up sounding something like this. Rain, 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 rain. It was a loud song. It went clear to the top of the mountain, and the rain god heard it. He climbed up to the center of the sky. He gathered dark clouds around him. Way far off in the distance, a soft wind started to blow. Raindrops started falling. The rain fell faster and faster and faster. Lightning started flashing through the sky. The thunder started to rumble. The rain fell even harder. It was a big storm. And the river started running down the canyon again. And then the grass turned green. And then the trees and the bushes got new leaves on them. The land came back to life, all because the frogs and the locusts worked together. And that's why it is, even today, if one person's fields are dry and dying, that person doesn't go off alone and say a prayer for rain. The whole village gathers together. They sing together with one voice. They dance together with one heart. And in that way, they can always bring some rain.
Jangi janger seng sengi seng seng janger seriang enturo raroti. One night, Elephant was awakened. He heard a loud noise right under his window. Gecko! 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 Suatu malam, sang gajah terbangun dari tidurnya. Dia mendengar suara yang keras sekali, tepat di bawah jendelanya. Tokek! Tokek! Tokek!
Gecko, what are you doing up so late at night?
Gecko, Gecko, Gecko. Can't sleep, can't sleep. Firefly's lights going on, off, on, off, on, off. Can't sleep. You're the chief. Do something about this.
All right, Gecko. Tomorrow I will go and see Firefly, but in the meantime, go home and get some sleep.
Gecko, Gecko, Gecko.
The next morning, Chief called the fireflies. Altfluger! Altfluger! Fireflies! Is it true? Is it true? Have you been flashing your lights on and off all night long? Have you been keeping Gecko awake?
Ja, vi har velat göra det.
Really? But why?
Säger utav koknum.
Because of the poop? What poop?
Visunderen, han skilfte så mycket kok och tog alla gott.
The buffalo, you say? The buffalo leaves his poop all over the road?
Ja, och av vet kvekker mycket slakur, så getur ekkur stigið i kokin.
So you have to do it so that no one will step in the mess? Well, that is very thoughtful of you, fireflies. You can keep doing what you have been doing. You can go home now.
Yes, please.
Goodbye.
The next morning, the chief talked to Buffalo. મેં સાંભળ્યું છે કે તું તારા પોદરા અહીંયા ને ત્યાં પાડે છે. I heard, Buffalo, you are leaving your poop here and there. અને એના લીધે, and because of that, આજ્ઞા એમની બત્તી ખોલબંધ આખી રાત રાખે છે. And because of that, fireflies are flashing their lights on and off all night long. અને એના લીધે, and because of that, ગિલોડીને ઊંઘ નથી આવતી. Gecko can't sleep. સાચી વાત છે? Is this true? हाँ सरपंच, बिल्कुल साची बात छे. Yes, chief, it is absolutely right. છે ને, you see, વરસાદ વરસે છે ને, rain falls. રોજે, every day. અને રસ્તા પર ખાડા કરે છે. અને rain makes holes in the road. માણસનો પગ મચકાઈ જાય તો man might sprain his foot. એટલે હું એક ખાડામાં મારા પોદરા પાડું છું. So I am filling the holes with my poop. મેં Khotu karyu? Did I do something wrong? ના. બહુ સારું કામ કરો છો. ચાલુ રાખો. No, you are doing a good job. Continue. આવજો. Goodbye.
That night, at midnight, Elephant was awakened again. Gecko! 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 Elephant leaned out his window. Gecko, will you please go home and go to sleep?
But I cannot sleep. The fireflies are still blinking their lights on and off, on and off. You said you'd do something about it. Tapi aku tidak bisa tidur. Kunang-kunang masih tetap mengkerlap-kerlipkan cahayanya. Hidup, padam, menyala, padam. Wah, katanya kamu mau melakukan sesuatu tentang ini.
Yes. Well, I spoke to Water Buffalo. And he said that it rains so hard that it makes holes in the road. And he's afraid people will step in the holes and hurt themselves. So he does what he can to fill in the holes, and he poops in the hole. In the daytime, people can see the poop, they can see the hole, and step around it. But at nighttime, no. So Firefly is afraid that people will step in the poop in the holes and hurt themselves, and so he makes his light go on, off, to warn people away.
Gecko, Gecko, Gecko. Don't care. Still can't sleep. You're the chief. Do something about this.
All right, Gecko. Tomorrow I will speak to Rain. But in the meantime, Gecko, go home and get some sleep.
Gecko, Gecko, Gecko.
The next day, Rain, come.
And once the rain said, do you see? You see, Chief. If I don't rain, what happens is there will be no puddles. If there are no puddles, then the mosquitoes cannot breed. There will be no food for Gecko. Maria Payre. Said the chief. Good work. Continue the good work. Go on, he said.
That night at midnight, Chief was awakened again.
Gecko! 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 Gecko!
Gecko, go home and go to bed.
Gecko! Getur ekki sofið. Eldflugurnar eru að kveikja og slökkva. Sú ert sársöngin. Sú ætlar að gera málinu.
Gecko, listen very carefully. If rain doesn't rain every afternoon, then there would be no puddles. And if there are no puddles, then there will be no mosquitoes. And if there are no mosquitoes, then you, Gecko, would have nothing to eat. Now, what do you think of that?
Ef þú segir rigningunni að hætta að rigna,
If I told the rain to stop rain, yes?
þá myndi vatnavísundurinn hætta að kúka.
Then the buffalo could stop, leaving his poop to fill up the holes, yes.
Og eldflugurnar myndu hætta að kveikja og slökkva.
And the fireflies, they could stop flashing the lights.
Og Gecko gæti sofið.
And Gecko could sleep, yes.
En
But
þá hefði Gecko ekkert að borða.
then Gecko would have nothing to eat.
Mér
Some things you just have to put up with, Gecko. This world is all connected.
Everything in this world and earth is connected. அப்போ கெக்கோ பள்ளிக்கு புரிஞ்சுது இந்த உலகத்துல எல்லா விஷயங்களும் சேர்ந்தது தான் இந்த உலகம்.
We are all connected. આપણે એકબીજાની જરૂર છે. We need each other.
This world is all connected. Some things you just have to put up with.
Do you see, Gecko, that everything is connected? Sometimes, Gecko, we just have to put up with inconveniences. Do you understand, Gecko?
Gecko.
Good. Now, go home, Gecko, and get some sleep.
Now go home and go to bed. Gecko went home. Gecko closed his eyes. And Gecko went to sleep. Outside, the fireflies, flashing their lights, on and off, 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 on and off. Some things you just have to put up with. Gecko, 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 gecko.
Hi, my name is Judith Black, and this story, Spider and the Palm Nut Tree, was first told by one Lidepe from Liberia and was shared with us through Margaret Read MacDonald's book, Earth Care. It is highly adapted. Spider took very good care of Spider. So when the chief, who everyone agreed was a good chief, called all beings to come to the clearing, Spider was already complaining.
Rules, rules, rules. He's going to make more rules. I hate all his rules. His rules are stupid, stupid, stupid. So many rules. Rules. You can't kill a mother. You can't kill the babies to eat. No, 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 no. Don't take too many fish from the river. No, 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 no. Don't do your business upstream. It doesn't matter. My business is a hard lump of uric acid, and it never dissolves anyway. Rules, 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 rules.
Everyone was gathered in the clearing. My people, let us speak of the gifts given by the palm nut tree. And Spider lit up like Liberia if it had a 4th of July. Palm nut tree, yeah, means palm nut sap. I love sap. Sap in the morning, sap in the evening, sap at supper time. I like to drink sap. I drink it all the time. Yes, yes, palm fronds you use on your hut roof. Yes, the fibers from the fallen bark that we weave into strong ropes. Oh, as we eat the palm nuts, they are delicious, and we use their oil for cooking. Yes, my friends. Also, their roots bind the soil to the earth so we do not flood. And so,
I hate this. I hate this. This is called inductive learning. Oh, make us do all the thinking. Inductive, inductive, inductive. Just tell us the new rule. Tell us what you want us to know. Just tell us, tell us, tell us.
we must stop tapping the palm nut tree for its sap.
No, no, don't tell us that. No, no.
My friends, when we pull out our tapping sticks, beetles get into the trees. They eat them from the inside out, and our beloved trees are dying. So for 3 years, we must not tap a tree. Sometimes, my friends, you must give up what you desire for the good of all. Yes.
Well, the human beings all agreed. But Spider,
He was on his back, flailing all 8 legs, screaming, no, 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 no. But hey, humans don't understand spider language, so they just walked past and thought, well, that's Spider. But after they left, Spider got himself back, and he did what we all do. He rationalized. No, that's not fair. It is so not fair. I don't use any of those things. I don't need a palm frond to put on my roof because I don't have a roof. I have a web. I don't need those fibrous things because I weave my own string. Yeah. And food. I would never eat a palm nut. Too hard. I catch all my own food in my web. All I like is the sap. Just a little bit of sap. I'm just one little spider. See, one little spider. How much could I take? I don't take so much. If one little spider just takes a little bit of sap, everything will be fine. Nobody will know. Just one little bit. Just me. Hey, and when I pull out my bamboo stick, I will eat some beetles. Sort of like an insect cap and trade. Yeah. And so later that day, he went into the rainforest and he put a mark on 3 trees that looked ripe for sapping. And then he went and collected all the accoutrements that he would need. He found a half of a calabash, a hollow gourd. He found a strong bamboo stick, good and hollow, and he made it very, very sharp at one end. And then he did take the fibers from the bark of the palm nut tree and he wove them into a very strong rope so that he could hang it over the top of the bamboo stick and support the calabash as the palm sap dripped into it. Sap in the morning, sap in the evening, sap at supper time. And the next morning, he was off before the human beings awoke. I like to drink sap, I drink it all the time. And he had a palm frond, and with it, he was wiping away his 8 leg marks as he made his way, because 8 little leg marks are very noticeable. I like sap, I eat it all the time. And he was about 10 feet up the first tree when, there's Grandfather Spider, Grandmother Spider, Sister Spider, Brother Spider. Oh my goodness, there's Great Aunt Mazzulo Spider. And look what each of them has. Every spider had on their own decided to do the same thing. And Spider could see that each one of them had a calabash, a thick rope woven from the fibers of the bark of the tree, and a bamboo stick. Now, Spider was no PhD entomologist. He was no earth scientist, and he was small and selfish and greedy, but stupid. He was not. Sometimes you must give up what you desire for the good of the community. Spiders, come! I am your new chief. Well, one disgruntled nephew said, who made you our chief? And for the sake of both dignity and balance, he kept 2 of his legs on the ground, but with the other 6, he pointed to all of the palm nut trees in the rainforest. They did. They are sick and tired of all of you spiders. Look at you, hundreds and hundreds of you, thinking the rules do not apply to you. We may not tap these trees. And all the spiders yelled at him the exact same arguments he had told to himself. Hey, we don't need those fibers, we make our own. No, we don't need their fronds for our roof. We don't have roofs, and we don't use oil. Look at you. I see you all erasing your little 8 leg marks in the dirt with a palm frond. And they all tried to push their palm fronds behind them. And another question. I see every one of you has a rope that you made to hold your calabash, and it is all from the bark, the fibrous bark of the palm nut tree. And they tried to push that behind them. And I see you have calabash, but he knew they were too big for the spiders to push behind them. How can you do this? You will kill everything. Well, and then the same nephew said, blah, 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 stupid rules. Now remember, Spider was not stupid. Nephew, I am going to make you my #1 lieutenant. And the nephew took in as much air as a spider chest could hold. You will protect this place And for your work, you will get 5 fat flies every day. Remember, sometimes you must give up what you desire for the good of the community. And the trees in that rainforest lived long, healthy lives, protected by everyone. And Spider wrote a new song for himself. Oil in the morning, shade in the evening. If we're good, palm sap at supper time. We take of the trees and they'll care for us all the time. Take care of the trees and they'll care for us all the time. Take care of the trees. Spider and the palm nut tree.
A long time ago, there was a tailor. A tailor is a person that with fabric, with needle and thread, makes clothes. Now the tailor in my story, he's made clothes for all the men in his village, all the women in his village, all the children in his village. He made fancy clothes, working clothes, everyday clothes. He made clothes for everyone in that village.
But the strange thing was, his own clothes were very old and shabby. When I say shabby, what do I mean? They were so old, he had patches on his elbows. Why? To hide the holes.
One day, he went to the fabric store, and there he chose a fabric to make something for himself.
A piece of cloth that is as dark as night, as colourful as the rainbow, as strong as steel, and as soft as silk.
He took that fabric home, he placed it on top of the table, he measured, and he took his scissors.
Can I see all the scissors there? Very good. And with his scissors, he cut the cloth.
And then he started sewing.
Stitch, stitch, stitch. And he made himself a splendid suit.
And he looked at himself on the mirror and he said, "Oh, I look so good. Oh, I look so good. Mwah!"
And he liked so much the way that jacket looked on him.
He wore it here, he wore it there, he wore it everywhere. Until his suit wore out. Holes, 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 holes.
You don't take that jacket, don't even to go to sleep. Please, you have to throw it into the garbage now.
But
there's enough material here. I could make myself a shirt. So he took his scissors and he cut the cloth, snip, 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 and he sewed the cloth, and with his needle he stitched the cloth, stitch, 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 and he made himself a splendid shirt.
He looked at himself on the mirror and he said, "Oh, I look so good. Oh, I look so good. Mwah!"
And he liked that shirt so much. He wore it here, he wore it there, he wore it everywhere. Until it too wore out.
But he said, "There's still plenty of good material here." He took his scissors and went shh, 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 shh.
And he made a cup.
And he liked that brown banana so much, he wore it here, he wore it there, he wore it everywhere. Until it too wore out. holes, 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 holes. And he was just about to throw it away when he looked again and thought, no.
There is still good material here. He took his scissors and went shh, 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 shh. And you know what he made? He made a button. He covered a button with the same fabric with red, green, and blue stripes. And he wore that button on jackets, on cuffs, and every time he put that button on, he looked at himself on the mirror and he said, "Oh, I look so good. Oh, I look so good. Mwah!" And he liked so much the way that button looked on him that he wore it for years and years and years and years.
Until it too wore out. And he was just about to throw it away when he stopped.
There is still plenty of good material here.
That I could make a story. So very carefully, because it's not very big at all, he took his scissors and he cut the cloth, snip, 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 and then he sewed the cloth, beep, 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 beep. And with his needle, he stitched the cloth. Stitch, stitch, stitch. Ow! And he made himself a story. And he liked that story so much, he told it here. He told it there. He told it everywhere.
And the story kept on traveling from mouth to ear, from ear to mouth, from mouth to ear, from ear to mouth, from mouth to ear, from ear to mouth, until one day it came through my ear, and now I'm telling it to you.
Because it was a story, it never wore out. Tsa. Jenkins. I'm a Singaporean storyteller and I play the village chief. But the other 6 creatures in this story are played by storytellers from the Federation of Asian Storytellers, and they'll each be speaking in their own mother tongue.
Hi, I'm Rona from Indonesia. I play Gecko and I will speak Bahasa Indonesia.
Hi, my name is An Soo-Kim. I am from South Korea. I play the Fireflies and I will speak in Korean.
Hello, I'm Alla Lebedeva. I'm a Russian woodpecker. So, I will speak Russian in this story.
Hi, my name is Rituparna Ghosh and I'm a storyteller from India. I'm going to perform as Mendhak, the frog, and I will be speaking in Hindustani.
Hello, I am Cem from Turkey. I played the sacred dung beetle. I speak in Turkish.
Mabuhay! I'm Simone from the Philippines and I play water buffalo. I will be speaking in my native language, Tagalog.
In a village somewhere near Ubud, in the very heart of the island of Bali, the village chief was trying to get to sleep. But outside his window was a very noisy lizard, or gecko. Well, the village chief tossed and he turned and he turned and he tossed. And finally, because the gecko was still making so much noise, he opened the window and he said, "Hey, Gecko, would you please stop making all that noise?"
Bising? Kebisingan apa? Toke!
That noise, yes. I'm trying to get some sleep.
Aku juga tidak bisa tidur. Jangan menyalahkanku. Ini semua salah kunang-kunang.
the fireflies.
Lihat, mereka terus berkedip-kedip, nyala, mati, dan aku tidak bisa tidur karenanya.
Oh, it's true. There were many fireflies flashing their lights on and off in the chief's garden. So what do you want me to do?
Bisakah kamu berkata pada kunang-kunang untuk berhenti berkedip-kedip?
Oh, you want me to stop the fireflies from flashing their lights? Very well. If it means that you can get to sleep, then I'll be able to get to sleep. So the chief went to speak to the fireflies. Fireflies, would you mind? Would you stop doing that? Doing that. Panchak, 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 panchak. It's keeping Gecko awake. And he's keeping me awake.
우리 비난하지 말아요. 우린 지금 소식을 전하고 있다고요. 반짝반짝반짝.
Message? What message?
계속.
The woodpecker?
계속.
A warning? To wake up the village? Oh, I wonder what's the problem. I'd better go and speak to the woodpecker straight away. Thank you, fireflies. And the chief went off to find the woodpecker. Hey, woodpecker, would you stop doing that, please? Woodpecker, would you please stop doing that? It's upsetting the fireflies, and they're flashing their lights on and off, and that's keeping the gecko awake, and he's keeping me awake.
Виноват? Я? Слышал лягушек в пруду? Квак, 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 квак.
The frog in the paddy field, what's he got to do with it?
Это землетрясение. Землетрясение.
An earthquake?
Это сигнал тревоги. Я передаю сигнал тревоги. Тук, 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 тук.
This sounds serious. I'd better go and speak to the frog. Thank you, woodpecker. And the chief went to speak to the frog. Hey, frog, stop doing that.
क्या बंद करें?
Doing that, croaking all the time. Because of you, the woodpecker is going dong, 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 dong. The fireflies are going on, off, on, off, on, off. And Gecko is going doka, doka, and I can't get to sleep.
अरे हमारा दोष थोड़ी है, जाके गुबरेला को बोलो.
The dung beetle?
हर रोज पूरे दिन गोबर के गोले को लुढ़क पुढ़क कर आगे लेकर जाता है. कितना गंदा.
Down the street. Ooh, how unhygienic. Well, I'm glad you told me, Frog. I'm going to go and speak to the dung beetle straight away. Thank you. So the chief goes to see the dung beetle and said, hey, dung beetle, no, you've got to stop doing that.
Neyi bırakmamı istiyorsun?
Rolling your smelly balls of puput down the street. Because of you, the frog is croaking. Croak, croak. And the woodpecker goes dong, 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 dong. And the fireflies, planchak, planchak, planchak. And that makes the gecko, he's going docket, docket, because he can't get to sleep. And because he can't get to sleep, I can't get to sleep.
Hemen beni suçlama. Manda var. Git bir de mandaya sor.
Oh, it's the water buffalo's puput. It's not your puput.
Tabii ki hayır. Sanki ben bunu böyle aşağıya yuvarlamaktan çok mu zevk alıyorum zannediyorsun? Ama o mandanın ortaya bıraktığı pisliği birisi temizlemeli.
Oh, I see. So the buffalo drops his puput all in the path, and then you have to come along and roll it out of the way. Oh, that's very good of you, dung beetle. Thank you. Thank you. Well, listen, would you carry on rolling? So the chief said, I must go and find the water buffalo. And he went to the paddy field. And as soon as he saw the water buffalo, he said, hey, water buffalo, you've got to stop doing that.
Ha? Bakit? Anong ginagawa ko sa'yo?
Be careful. Don't drop your puput on my new shoes.
Tapsak.
Stop doing that.
Hindi ko yan kasalanan. Yung ulan kasi. Tapsak.
It's the rain. What's the rain got to do with it?
Umuulan ng malakas.
It's true. In the afternoon, the rain is very heavy and...
At nadadala ng baha ang mga bato. Tuloy, nagiiwan ito ng malaking butas sa daan.
It washes away the big heavy stones and leaves these large holes.
Oo. Malaking butas. Tama. Delikado yan.
It's true. The holes are dangerous. Someone might fall in and trip.
Kaya pinupuno ko ng mga butas ang dumi ko. Mas mabuting tumapak sa dumi kaysa madapa at masaktan.
Oh, so you come along and you fill up the holes with your puput. That's very good of you, Water Buffalo. Yes. I can see. It's much better that people put their foot in some puput rather than trip in a hole and maybe hurt themselves. Very good, Buffalo. You carry on doing that.
Tapsak.
Not on my shoes, Buffalo. So the chief went home. And that night, just when he was trying to get to sleep, outside his window was...
Toke. Kepala suku, apakah kamu terbangun?
Of course I'm awake. How can I possibly sleep with you going toke all night outside my window?
Aku juga tidak bisa tidur. Apakah kamu sudah berbicara pada kunang-kunang?
Yes, I did.
Mereka masih berkedip, nyala mati.
I know, but you can't blame the fireflies. No, it's the woodpecker.
Pelatuk.
Tong, tong, tong. And woodpecker, he blames the frogs.
Kata.
And she says she's croaking because of the dung beetle.
Kumbang.
And the dung beetle says it's not her fault, it's the water buffalo.
Kerbau? Untuk apa?
For dropping his puput splat all over the road.
Iu, kotoran kerbau kan bau dan menjijikkan.
And Buffalo says he does that because of the rain.
Hujan? Tidak. Stop. Jangan lanjutkan ceritanya ya.
No. It's not a story, Gecko. It's true.
Aku tidak peduli. Sampaikan pada hujan untuk berhenti turun.
Tell the rain to stop raining? Really? That's not going to be easy. Where can I find the rain? Oh, I know. I'll have to speak to the god of the rain, won't I? Now, where would I find him? In the temple. Yes, of course. I know. I'll climb up to Lake Baduggle at the top of the mountain there. And then I'll ask him. All right, I'll do that tomorrow. So the chief began to climb the mountain. It was hot work. So after a while, he stopped just to rest and have a little drink of water. And as he did so, he turned and he looked around and he saw the beauty of Bali spread out before him.
Bali memang sangat indah. जहाँ देखो हरे भरे खेत.
바나나 잎사귀들과 코코넛 나무 잎사귀들, 크고 푸른 잎사귀들.
And the chief looked at all the fruits and the flowers.
Papaya, дыни, манго.
And he listened to the soothing sound of the waters as they ran through the paddy fields and
Nehirler, göller, hepsi ne kadar güzel.
Sinasalamin ang himpapawid.
So the chief looked around at all these beautiful things and he thought, if there's no rain, all these things will die and the beauty of Bali will be gone. But how do I explain that to the gecko? That night, again, as the chief tried to get to sleep, again, outside his window...
Toke. Kepala suku,
Apakah kamu terbangun?
Yes, Gecko. Yes, I am awake. I'm waiting for you.
Aku tidak bisa tidur.
Me neither.
Apakah kau sudah berbicara pada hujan untuk berhenti?
The rain? No, I did not.
Belum.
No,
Kenapa belum?
because, my friend, if there was no rain, there'd be no puddles.
Lalu, siapa yang membutuhkan genangan air?
Who needs puddles? The mosquitoes do. If there were no puddles, where would the mosquitoes breed?
Lalu, memangnya siapa yang membutuhkan nyamuk?
Who needs mosquitoes? You do, Gecko. What do you have for breakfast? And lunch? And dinner?
Oh iya ya.
So you see, Gecko, all things are connected. You can't have mosquitoes for dinner without having rain for breakfast. So we all have to learn to live with one another and to accept the many things that we cannot change, for we are all connected.
Wah, aku tidak pernah berpikir seperti itu, kepala suku.
And so, if you go to Bali today, well, of course, you can't go to Bali today because of COVID and quarantine and are there planes flying, but one day, someday in the future, Bali will reopen again. And when you go, and you should because it is the most beautiful island, you will still see the rain falling heavily in the afternoon and the buffalo.
Kapag uwi ng kalabaw, nagdudumi pa rin siya sa daan.
Bütün türlere dünyada yaşam şansı herkese eşit olarak versek ya.
बारिश के बाद सभी मेंढक टटर टर टटर टर टटर टर.
Слушай, и ты услышишь, как дятел стучит. Тук, 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 тук.
시골에는 아직도 반딧불이 반짝반짝.
Dan tokek. Ia pindah dari jendela rumah kepala suku dan dia sekarang sudah tidak seberisik dulu. Tokek. Tokek.
The village chief smiles as he listens to the sound of the night. And slowly, gently, he gradually falls asleep.
Ang palayang sinasalamin ng malawak na langit.
Yaşam zincirinde bütün canlılara eşit şans versek ya.
एक ऐसी दुनिया जहां हम सिर्फ अपने लिए ना सोचें.
Но понимаем, что мы все должны жить вместе.
우리 함께 살아요. 이곳은 우리 모두의 집이에요.
Ya, benar. Lalu aku akan berhenti khawatir dan kita semua bisa tidur dengan nyenyak.
Selamat malam.
Popsak.
Hi. Wasn't that fun? I really love to see the stories in different languages. It's really fun. We had so many of my friends submit stories for this program. A few of them couldn't fit in. So if you would like to go to YouTube, you can find 3 more, like the full storytelling from the Icelandic tellers, a telling of Frog and Locust in Spanish by Paula Martin, and a telling of The Tailor by Chua Ai Lin from Singapore, in which she does a paper folding story and makes the tailor in the story about a woman instead of about a man. So if you'd like to see any of those, just go to YouTube, type in Care MRM, and the title of the story, and they will all appear. Or just type in Earth Care MRM, and you'll get a list of all the stories that were featured in this program. There are 11 total, and we're putting them all up on YouTube for you to view. I'd like to thank all the tellers who took part in this. It was really wonderful for them to contribute their stories, and especially to Jeff Gear. It was his idea to do this program. And Jeff spent hours and hours editing these and putting them all together into the 2 programs. This is the first of our 2 programs, and there'll be another one coming on in about 20 minutes. So please come back for that. There'll be quieter stories and a little bit longer. If you want more stories like this to tell and share, you can look at my books, Kindness Tales, which just came out this spring, and Peace Tales. Lots more stories to talk about from people all around the world. Thanks so much for being here. And be sure and come back in a few minutes to hear another hour of stories from the book Earth Care. Thank you.